What makes a house a home? We've asked the people of Scotland to enter their houses into Scotland's Home of the Year. Now, our judges are visiting the top 3 from each region, choosing one each week to go through to our national final. Scoring them on architectural merit, distinctive design and original style are interior designer Anna Campbell-Jones.
What I'm looking for in a home is bags of personality, care for the planet, and that most important ingredient, love.
Architect and lecturer Michael Angus.
What I'm looking for in a home is the right building in the right place, compassionately decorated to enhance the lives within.
And guest judge, winner of BBC's Interior Design Masters, Banjo Beale.
I'm looking for a home that is packed full of character and just really well lived in.
This is dreamy, isn't it?
I feel like the queen.
And look, I've already found the heart.
In the end, only one can be Scotland's Home of the Year. Today, our judges are visiting the shortlist in the West. And they're starting with an Edwardian renovation in Glasgow. Kirkley Mansion is home to Jason and John and Dalmatian Mitzi Bell.
We took our time actually restoring. We really want to bring it back to what it would have been back in the day.
So there was windows that were missing, there was broken mirror, there was wood panels, dry rot, wet rot, whole range of problems with it. It had to be taken right back to the base walls. The architectural detail around the lengths of the room, the doors, the windows, the fireplace wasn't functioning. So there's an awful lot of time and energy put into that kind of component of renovation.
And patience.
And patience.
It took a lot of patience. But
yeah, more you than me.
Yes.
Because it's a very social space, and that's really what we wanted home to be. So we've had to improve our cocktail making recipes.
Whether we have visitors or not.
Yeah, whether we have visitors or not.
Originally 3 separate townhouses, now split to form single-level apartments. Kirkley Mansion sits on the first floor. Off the main hallway are 2 bedrooms, one with ensuite, an open-plan living and kitchen area, and a further 2 bathrooms.
This, of course, has to be our favorite spot in the home. It's our armchair that we affectionately named Lilibet, and it's because it has the best vantage point within our home, where you get to appreciate the enormity of this room. Also, we have Sir George Arthur Mitchell above the armchair, who is the original owner and is paying homage to him.
Armed with only the basic facts about the property, the judges now get their first look at Kirkley Mansion.
I think that's what you call a mighty fine building.
Look at that lantern flickering above the door.
That's your find your way home at night spot.
Yeah, stumbling at home. Follow the light.
When you tumble out of your carriage, when you've come home from the gentleman's club.
Oh, I'm gagging to get inside.
Shall we see if we fit?
Let's do it.
I live really near here, and I used to walk past this building all the time and see it in rack and ruin. And then I was overjoyed to see it being brought back to life. And I've always wanted to come inside, so it's not disappointing me at all.
Well, it was grand outside, wasn't it? So they've continued that gold kind of gilding inside. I suddenly feel underdressed to be in here. It's gorgeous and the art's lovely. And I mean, look at that little puppy dog there. That must be their pooch. Cutie.
Always tricky, I think, subdividing an original townhouse, because how do you make sure that you create new homes with their own hall spaces? So it's lovely to see this generous hall space, which I think is going to be absolutely appropriate for what's about to come.
Ballroom or living room? My gosh.
Oh, every home should have a barrel vault, shouldn't it? Look at it.
I tend to agree. I mean, this bit here is so cozy, but isn't it so grand with that mirror on the wall and all their little details are just right. They haven't overcooked it, although they've dialed it up a bit, haven't they?
Think of these buildings as stone buildings and you think they're priority stone, but in actual fact, in that bit of wall there's infinitely more glass than stone. It's actually quite modern.
It's very elegantly decorated. We've got this very tonal scheme with the denim walls and matching the sofas, but there's also a little bit of fun. There's some slightly camp cushions. I think we're just the right side of Liberace here.
I could happily move in here.
Oh, look. What a regal seat for the favourite spot. I feel like the queen.
Honestly, I would not be sitting in that. That looks so expensive.
Do you think it should have like a little rope across it?
I think so.
I can see why that beautiful chair is the favourite spot. It's the perfect place to sit and just admire the sort of grandeur of this incredible barrel-vaulted ceiling and these beautiful windows. Although this is quite a grand room and it could feel intimidating, the fact that it's been subdivided into different functions helps it to feel more domestic. It's quite a small kitchen. It's very functionally designed and it sits very subtly in the room.
I mean, this is definitely a party home. Martinis by the counter, champagne in the dining area, aperitif over in the living room. I bet you can't get people to leave in the morning or evening. That's my kind of party morning.
I really like all their photographs. These are all the reality of people in their lives that are obviously important to the homeowners, but then pride of place, the portrait of the fictional character of Carlotta Valdez from Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo. They've really got a sense of humour in this home.
Ooh, hexagonal.
1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Octagonal.
Octagonal. Wow.
It's a lovely little detail that isn't. See the arch in front of the window. There's a whole framing in this room that's doing something else that's different from the outside.
It's actually really clever. They've designed a space where the curtains can live. The bane of my life, architects never think about curtains.
No, architects, they drive me crazy.
I'm loving this bed. It's handsome and pretty all at once.
I think this room is actually like a piece of music, and you would not displace a note in music, so you would not displace a thing in this room.
Oh. Well, there's a lot of San Francisco kind of Vertigo.
A Vertigo was set in San Francisco, so there's a theme going on here.
I've actually stayed in the hotel that they filmed Vertigo in San Francisco. And this room actually has got quite a kind of hotel feel to it. It's very, very plush, this beautiful big upholstered bed and the way that the bed is dressed. Oh, I wonder what's here. Oh, hello. What do you think's in there?
A whole other wing.
It's an ensuite.
Oh, an ensuite. Oh, it's too posh for me. I don't have an ensuite. I mean, yeah, this is the hotel I could check into, but I guess it's also very practical. I can see why they might have picked this as their master. You've got your wardrobe, you've got your ensuite.
Is this the master bedroom because it's got the ensuite?
Maybe you just decide each evening.
Or this is when you want a holiday at home, so you pack your bags and you move next door and go to San Francisco.
How will the judges rate Kirkley Mansion? Banjo's mark will be held back until the judges have seen all 3 homes, when their combined scores will be revealed.
I think when you take on a building like this, it's all about getting in tune with the building, its history, all the resonance of its past and what it could be. What's lovely is they have claimed this building, made it their own. The building has accepted it, and I think both are seeming to be in a very happy marriage. I'm going to give this home a 10.
It's always such a treat to see a perfectly put together home, but this home manages to both be elegant and playful, which is wonderful. These homeowners have created a series of very sophisticated interiors using quite a particular palette. Normally, I would want to see rooms all decorated different colors, but the style of furniture gives them their character. This home makes me feel like a Hitchcock heroine. I'm going to give this home a 10.
I was expecting a grand home outside and it did not disappoint. It's grand and it's gilded and it's fabulous. I don't know how they've done it, but they've created a cozy ballroom space that could kind of move from quiet nights in to just giant parties. And I mean, that's the dream for any home.
Next in store for the judges is a 1950s extended bungalow in Kirkintilloch. Bright Bungalow is home to Lorna, Andrew and their 2 sons, Charlie and Harry.
Well, we'd always said when we lived round the corner that we always liked this row of houses, and we always said if one came up, we'd go and have a look, and then this one came up and we just went for it, didn't we? And
Yeah.
we're lucky. The people previously had already extended it out the back, and then eventually we added the side extension, and it also gave the cat a room, didn't it?
Yes.
We joked, yeah, we built an extension for the cat. So, but that's really made a big difference, hasn't it, having that extra space.
The ground floor features an open-plan kitchen, dining and living area, along with an ensuite master bedroom, shower room, utility and kids' playroom. The upper floor has the kids' bedroom, a guest bedroom and a small bathroom.
This is our favourite spot because you can socialise with people in the kitchen, you get a view down the rest of the house, you get a lovely view out into the garden, and it's just far enough away from the playroom to get a bit of peace and quiet.
But what will the judges think of Bright Bungalow?
God, looks like we've got a 1950s-ish bungalow that's had a mega makeover.
I think these buildings, when they were built, must have been such a blissful alternative to the inner city living. Such a generous way to live, isn't it?
I really like this teak-coloured slatted panelling that's around the entrance. It gives it a really mid-century feel.
I love this little skirt at the bottom there and that crow's nest up top. Every house should have a crow's nest, even in the suburbs.
Well, it has an elegant front. I'll be really curious to see if it's the same at the back.
Should we go in the front then?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I am absolutely in love with this yellow.
Yeah, custard dreams. I am loving that.
I think this thing about keeping panelling, something we've almost forgotten, but it's such a lovely thing to do. It keeps that DNA of the building, of that era.
It's altogether a really calming kind of space, but with the pop, isn't it? I mean, this floor, that is a really cost-effective solution for flooring. I mean, it looks like fancy tiles, but I mean, it's just vinyl.
I really love that long view right through the house to the garden at the back. That's beautiful.
I'm in heaven. All right, you know I'm a material girl and I'm loving this brick. I'm loving all of the wood. It's just working. And I mean, bungalow, more like jungalow. Look at these plants.
I always love outside materials being brought inside, plus they also become heat sinks. So a really lovely thing to do. Get lovely texture, lovely qualities.
I love the way this space is laid out. You can imagine a family all occupying this space and doing different things, whether it's homework, sitting on the sofa, cooking. And this wall really helps to create that definition. And I love the way that they've painted the end of it with blackboard paint for messages, literally for the messages.
Oh, the heart.
Oh, we come and sit next to you.
I can see why this is a favourite spot, honestly. This house is the gift that keeps giving.
I mean, I grew up in a home like this. It's making me very nostalgic. I mean, I had those very blinds. I can still remember the clicking noise they made. I felt so sophisticated.
Yeah, I love those blinds. And I mean, they've got different ones here, so it just shows you don't have to be matchy-matchy in your house.
I expected a dead end here, but there's another opening which takes us right the way back to the front of the home. It's so interconnected, so companionable, this home.
And you and your swivel chair, you could just spin around and take in the view outside. Magic, isn't it? This house doesn't follow any rules, does it?
No.
It is moving to the beat of its own drum. I love it.
Oh, this is a lovely room. I think it's really clever the way they've created a datum, painting this border all the way around the room with the same colour as the front door. It's a lovely soft blue and really grounds the room.
It feels really down to earth, doesn't it, this room? And I quite like that they've kind of brought the artwork down to here as well.
It's amazing, isn't it? This is not actually a complex room, but it's got all the proportions just correct of the length and the height and the width. It's just a perfect little space as a bedroom.
They've got lovely textures in here, haven't they? This really pillowy bed with the velvet throw and this jumbo knitted throw.
Yeah, that's some serious knitting needles you need right there.
I'm conscious that over here looks like something even might be beyond the wardrobe. Shall I have a look?
Hey.
Look, the brick is back.
The brick is back. It never left, baby.
This is really luxurious.
I mean, they've gone for some cost-effective materials as well. I mean, that looks like concrete, but it's not. And I mean, that could be a critter window, but it's just a glass with the black on there.
Yeah, with all these natural materials and all the plants, it's got a real spa feel. It's like a sanctuary for the parents, isn't it? That's so important in a family home. Ooh. Oh, a lovely kids' room. It's so full of fun. We approached it up that rainbow staircase, and now we've got this mural that they've painted on the wall with the kind of mountain peaks when we're up in the roof of the building. It really makes sense.
It's the crow's nest.
It is the crow's nest. This is the best room in the house. I know if I was a kid, I would bags this room.
Actually, a really nicely laid out room. There's a sort of dedicated space for sleeping and a dedicated space for playing, which I imagine is always this tidy.
Always.
How will the judges rate Bright Bungalow? Anna is holding back her score.
Where do I start with this home? It's taken me back to my youth, and it's also brought me into my adulthood. These features and elements that I grew up with. I think it was really interesting that the building really wasn't giving much away from the outside, and then on the inside it was transformed into a very different character of what it would have originally been. It's been a wonderful home to visit. I'm going to give this home a 10.
This house just feels alive. It's just a really lived-in space, and the owners have brought it to life with lots of plants, upcycled materials, and just a whole lot of love. This is really design that doesn't cost the earth, friendly on the wallet, friendly on the planet. This house might just be the blueprint for the perfect kind of suburban home for this day and age. I'm going to give this home a 10.
This home is a brilliant example of what you can do with not too much money, and everywhere you look, you can see the creativity and ingenuity of these homeowners. I get such a strong sense of the family in every space in this home. It really is a home filled with love.
The final home in the west is a converted Victorian villa in Greenock. Elmhurst is home to Robert, Lynn and their pug Queenie.
We had a beautiful house just 5 minutes walk from here. This is on a different level, you know, the ceilings were taller and the cornice was just that bit more ornate. We just fell in love the minute we walked in the door. I'm a joiner, so I've done more or less all the joinery work and more or less all the painting as well. Kind of taught myself how to do the gilding and painting, and definitely took on a lot more.
Yeah, it's not typical of most people's homes. You know, it is, you know, quite over the top, but we are quite, well, I'm a bit out there sometimes. I quite like different things. It's just nice to see a wee bit of glamour.
Elmhurst is split into 2 apartments. Robert and Lynn's section is on the lower floor. It features a formal sitting room, a bar and TV room, the master bedroom, a large family bathroom and 2 guest bedrooms.
This is our favourite spot in the home. This was the room that gave us the feeling that we had to have this house. It's also a very social room. We have a lot of family and friends round. We have a lot of fun here.
Time for the judges to get their first view of Elmhurst.
Oh, sacre bleu.
It's impressive, isn't it?
Buildings of this Victorian era, the grand opulence was just de rigueur.
Those flowers are leading me inside and there's already flashes of gold in there. That is opulent.
Although it's already quite an elaborate building, they've added extra 2 carved lion's heads on the front and extra columns. I think we're going to have quite an embellished home.
All right, shall we go and check out what's inside? Let's do it. Ooh la la.
It's ooh la la with bells on, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Beauty and the Beast vibes. And I ain't talking about you two. It feels like a movie set I've walked into.
I actually kind of don't know what to look at first. Everything in this space is so voluble.
It's just the investment in things. I mean, look at the detail in these Corinthian capitals. And, you know, the scale of marking out the door, that's almost like going into a whole other building, and that's just going into a room.
I mean, who can be bothered painting a regular door? But imagine the work that went into that and all that kind of gold leaf gilding.
Do you know, is this too much?
I don't know, more is more in this house.
Found a heart.
Oh, wow. This is fit for a queen.
I suspect this will be the wow moment in the home.
I think this home might continue to surprise us.
It's just staggering, isn't it? I mean, look at that cornice, right? There's how many layers to that cornice? About 4 or 5?
5?
Oh, dare I say it, I'm kind of relaxed in this room. I think it might be just all of those same kind of tones.
I think it's to do with if you're doing all of these like mad textures and luxury, that you kind of bring it down and together by keeping the palette the same, even if that palette is gold.
Okay,
wow.
This is the master.
It must be.
What a view to wake up to.
We have another incredibly ornate space, but in this room we've got the ornate plasterwork on the walls, whereas the ceiling is very simple.
I think it was a point of the technology of the day. You were able to make bigger glass elements and mirror elements, and thank goodness for that, because you need them to be that size in a room like this, don't you?
I mean, look at the size of that wardrobe. That is just massive. I guess the scale is so big, they've had to dial it up.
And I'm glad that they resisted what many people do, which is putting in a fitted wardrobe. In spaces like these, they're designed to be furnished with individual pieces.
Just the kind of room I can imagine Marie Antoinette eating cake in bed, which is kind of just my dream, really.
Hang on a second.
Take a pew.
Gotta check it out.
Well.
Oh, this bar is really something else, isn't it? You wonder if it's maybe even come out of a pub somewhere, because it does feel very authentic.
I mean, every palace needs a pub, doesn't it? Oh, I love that. That's a little frisky fresco right there. That's cool.
It's the second time I've noticed Wellington in this home. I mean, they're obviously harking back a little bit to the glory days of Empire and Waterloo, aren't they? Although I hadn't actually noticed that he's actually got a lollipop sticking out his mouth.
But how will the judges mark Elmhurst? Michael is holding his score back.
This home makes me smile because the volume has been turned right up in this house, and I think that is really fabulous because they're literally living in their own movie, and I'm happy for them. I'm giving this home a 9.
Well, these homeowners have clearly got a very unique aesthetic, and they've really gone to town and put their heart and soul into making this home really, really particular to them. The homeowners have responded to the ornate details of the interior, but I do feel like some of the things that they've added lack authenticity. I'm going to give this home an 8.
What to admire the homeowners keeping that Victorian spirit alive and well and living in Greenock. It was a part of the world that must have been rich with that way of life that was very opulent and very gracious. And those are the 2 words I think persist in this building. It's a gracious, opulent home, inside and out.
Now that the judges have seen all 3 homes, the final scores can be revealed. First, it was Kirklee Mansion in Glasgow.
I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. I gave it a 10. And Michael, you gave it a 10 as well.
Yeah, no surprise.
Banjo, how did you feel?
Well, I mean, it was a complete showstopper. That octagonal bedroom, the vaulted ceiling and the living space. I gave it a 10.
So that gives Kirklee Mansion 30. Crikey, I'm starting high.
Next up was Bright Bungalow in Kirkintilloch.
This ingeniously upcycled home. Banjo, you gave it a 10.
Of course I did.
Michael, you gave it a 10 as well. I think it shows what you can do with imagination and time to create a really unique, colourful family home that's kind to the environment and doesn't cost a fortune. I also gave it a 10.
Oh, wow. 2 very different houses.
So Bright Bungalow gets 30.
And finally, Elmhurst in Greenock.
This Rococo explosion, which Banjo gave a 9, and I gave an 8. Michael, what did you think?
I thought this was magnificent in many ways. I so admired the homeowner's attention to detail in the craft. I think I was looking for a bit more modern, a few more straight lines, so I gave Elmhurst an 8.
That gives Elmhurst 25, which is a great score, but we have 2 tied at 30. So when we have a draw, we have to have a discussion. I think for me, the Kirklee Mansion just had that little bit more magic to it, a kind of sparkle that I just fell in love with it. So that would be the one that I would want to put through to the final. Michael, what are your thoughts?
I mean, much as I so loved the bungalow, you know, it took me to my childhood, but the Kirklee took me into a place I'd never been. And I'd agree with you, Anna, Kirklee Mansion, it just transported me into another world.
Well, that's a rare thing. Michael and I are in agreement. How are you going to follow that, Banjo?
I don't agree with you. You know what? They've done a fantastic job, and that was grand, and I'd love to move in there. But what Bright Bungalow had was the touch of magic in the suburbs. That was just a masterclass in design that doesn't cost the earth. And it was just a happy family home full of love. I really felt that.
I really sympathise with you, Banjo, I really do, because I felt all that warmth. I suppose I just felt I was being sort of introduced to a way of that building having been saved in entirety and somehow being given a lease of life.
It's really difficult because we're talking about 2 homes that we have scored equally because we love them both. I think we've seen better examples of that approach. I felt that Kirklee Mansion showed me something that I hadn't seen before.
You've put together a good argument. I can see why Kirklee Mansion should be in the finals. It's a worthy finalist.
Kirklee Mansion wins in the West and is one step closer to being Scotland's Home of the Year. Next week,
I had a moment.
the judges have the hardest task
It's going to be tough.
as they reveal the winner of Scotland's Home of the Year.